Good evening, everybody. Today it is February 6th. The year is 2023, and it is an absolute pleasure to be here with you guys. I'm thankful that everybody is here, that the folks are ready to talk, that we have a couple special guests or fancy guests here to join us in this little celebration of ours, our weekly town hall, where we discuss all the comings and goings of the Splinterlands universe and what we're working on, what we're doing, and all that. So, as I like to do, I think I ought to introduce myself. I'm Agrode. I'm the founder and CEO of Splinterland. And, we've been at this for 4.5 years. And, I'm actually getting pretty excited about this coming year. I think 2023 is going to be pretty awesome. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. And I'm excited to see what it bears. I mean, if January went that well, and we're off to a good start in February, I'm hopeful for the year. I'm excited for this. All right. So sharing in some of that excitement is going to be a team full of people. And these are the guys that can kind of give you a breakdown of what today's town hall is going to be about, as we do just a little bit of a, table of contents for us all. And I don't know, why don't you take it away? I guess Cryptomancer, you wanna kick us off?
All right, sure. So I want to talk a bit about some of the things that are going out in tomorrow's release, specifically card sets. That's the big one for me. So we will be making a change to tournaments and brawls to change them from being based on editions to being based on sets. And we had a big announcement post giving all the details about that. So I'm not going to rehash everything that was in that post. You can go out and read it on your own if you haven't seen it yet. But I did want to mention a couple important points just to reduce the potential for some confusion. So there's going to be a bit of a transition period as we move from being based on sets to being based on, as we move from being based on editions to being based on sets. So after the release tomorrow,
hold on. You can go into more details soon. I think this is enough for now. This is just the table of contents of the show.
Oh, okay.
You're going all into the details and telling everybody what's in the weeds. We just want to let folks know. Weirdbeard, why don't you go? Then Harry, then Nate. We'll just go left to right on the screen here.
I have some questions about.
You're muted. There we go.
I have some questions about merits in tournaments. Going to be talking about some of those awesome projects that Cryptomancer is bringing to the front, and also putting out our poll for the final round of Splinterlands community leaders.
As usual, I'm going to be going over the weekly release notes, which was a pretty long list last time, and it's probably going to be a pretty long list again this time, though a lot of it's going to be passed off to Cryptomancer. I'd like to cover some of it. So
sweet. And Nate?
Wherever the wind takes us, sir, but chances are that wind will probably end up in land or something like that.
Yeah, I'm imagining folks are going to want to talk about land. But before we talk about land, one of the things that I think they're going to want to talk about is tower defense. So we got the man, the myth, the legend, David from Doublecoconut here to go talk to us about tower defense and sort of what we have going on there. So I don't know if there's maybe you want to give yourself an introduction more than I've given you, and then just kind of hit us with the news. Where are we at? What are we doing? And what is this tower defense thing of which we speak?
Yeah, thanks, Aggie. Good to see everyone, re-see everyone. I'm definitely not a myth or a legend, and not really even much of a man, but we have been busy making games. And the tower defense game, I'm really happy to say, is close. It's a real game. It's playable. It's fun. We're actually playing it, balancing things along the way. And we're going to show you very soon what that looks like. For those who don't kind of remember the history or are new to the town halls, Splinterlands and Doublecoconut partnered up on tower defense about 4 months ago or so. And we've been really working on it for even longer before that, working through like how the two go together. How does a tower defense game sit on top of the Splinterlands platform and system and be beneficial to the whole ecosystem? We think we have the answer. We think we have something really cool and really special. And you know, we're going to give the first kind of playthrough of that very soon.
All right. So just real quick, do you want to? So this is a tower defense game. Not everybody knows what a tower defense game is. So can you just kind of like give us a high level of what is tower defense and what's the format or what's the style?
Yeah, absolutely. So for folks who know games like Warcraft 2 and Command and Conquer real-time strategy games, tower defense came out of that genre of game where you basically are just focused on the buildings. You're not focused on any units for the most part, although we do have units. I'm getting ahead of myself. But for the most part, you're focused on buildings, and you have bad guys trying to attack something coming along a certain path. Many different types of bad guys with different abilities and armor, and your kind of job in a very hard, tactical, fun way is to place towers and traps perhaps around a playfield and make sure you defend with those towers, hence tower defense. So that's the general idea, and we of course, you know, put some twists into that as one does.
Yeah, because we have NFTs in this, and we have old NFTs that we've already issued, and maybe there's some new NFTs that are going into this through the Nightmare Pack sale. Like, how did you differentiate between what's a new NFT and what's an old one, or you know, how do you utilize the Splinterlands cards, and what do I need to be able to play this game?
Yeah, so the Splinterlands cards are an element, which we'll get into maybe in a little more detail later. But this actually has its own set of NFTs to play. So to play the game at a level where you earn, you do need to buy some packs. The packs are for sale now. The Nightmare packs, we've already sold, I think about 400K of them. And there, you're going to open the packs much like you're used to opening any other Splinterlands card pack, and you're going to get what's called defenses. So they're not cards; they're more like game pieces. And these defenses are either going to be towers or spells, and you're going to be then utilizing these towers or spells to kick some enemy butt. And you will, much like any other NFT you're used to in Splinterlands, you'll combine the lower level towers and spells to create higher level ones, which will give you much stronger stats and much more upgrade paths for those towers when you're playing in the game.
And then is it the upgrade path, or when is it that my existing assets get to sort of like play into the strength of a tower?
Yeah, so you'll be able to stake your existing Splinterlands cards into towers, and there will be earning bonuses as well as other surprises based on doing that.
All right, rock on.
Yeah.
Now we have a video of the gameplay that we can share tonight. Is there anything that you'd like to sort of mention or talk through before we kind of showcase this?
Yeah, I'll very briefly touch on the story because we came to a story that the team feels really excited and connected to, and hopefully everyone else will too. So the story actually begins with a death. A young woman has died, and her sister is mourning. And in this culture, when you mourn, you cover your eyes and ears, and you're for 40 days and 40 nights you're completely blind. When she's in this kind of state of mourning, she has a vision about what's actually happening to her sister's soul, which is really, really horrible. And this is probably also a good time to announce the title of the game, which will be Soul Keep. So you're actually, your defense here is not just defending a castle from soldiers. You're actually defending what we call a soul gate from these undead armies that are trying to steal the souls, draft them into their own army, increase their numbers, and take over the nightmare realm, so to speak. So
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Let's get a little glimpse of that, but it starts off with a lot of sadness. We're taking a cue here from
Yeah, keep it dark.
from operatic darkness.
So what are we looking at here?
So this is kind of building your deck. You see the towers and spells, and go ahead and jump into battle. And this is kind of a simple first wave. You have, like, for anyone used to tower defense, you have slots you put things. You can choose to put towers in certain places based on their abilities. Some towers have strength. Some towers have area damage. Some towers are magical. Some towers can go far at range. Some towers can slow down enemies. So what you're seeing here is kind of a typical weak tower, but it's cheap and plentiful. So it's a nice one to have. And you're also seeing kind of a weak enemy come in. These bug-like, I think they're called blood beetles or something. They explode into a nice little burst of blood when you kill them. And these are pretty weak. So you see, we're making short work out of these guys. And I'll stop talking for a bit. You can hear the music, which I think is really beautiful. Yeah, and so you see the soul gates in the upper left there, and we easily defeated that wave. And part of what you do when you defeat waves is you're actually collecting the souls of the defeated, and you can use those souls to level up your cards and to proceed into better and better leagues throughout as you keep playing the game. So here we are. Here we're jumping ahead to 6 waves. So you see, we're setting up for wave 6. We're dropping some spells and traps. These are going to give our towers buffs and missile defenses. And now we're facing a much harder enemy. So here's our boss, the Mega Reaper, and the Mega Reaper spawns mini Reapers, which in turn spawn more skeletons. And so it's going to be a mess.
So it looks like there's multiple spawn points.
Yep, they're coming from the left and the right. Sometimes there's multiple. Some levels have multiple soul gates too. So here we go. We sped it up for you, and you can see here, we're getting overwhelmed pretty quickly. Our hearts are going down in the upper right, and boom, not so lucky this time.
The Grim Reaper wins again.
Yep. But there's definitely a way to squash them, and
So
figure it out.
So you had like 2 towers in level 1, and you had like 8 towers in the next level. So like, I guess that was level 6. How or why? Like, explain the strategy around the number of towers that I own and how I use them.
Yeah. So you own a certain amount of towers. We're going to be launching with somewhere between 20 and 25 towers and 20 and 25 spells. In that deck builder, which you saw a few screens ago, you can bring a certain number of towers and decks into battle. And there'll be some balancing there, and there'll be some rules around what you can bring in, what and can't bring in. It'll be variable and interesting, depending on what you're facing. You then bring those in, and you have a certain amount of mana, which you can see in the upper right. It says 120. So every level starts with a certain amount of mana you can spend on the towers. Some towers are really, really powerful, but cost a whole lot of mana. Other towers are not as good, but cheap. So you have to be kind of smart in how you spend and place your towers. You then can, every time you're killing one of these fiends, notice the mana is going up in the upper right. So every fiend you kill gives you some mana. The weak fiends give you a little bit. The really big ones, if you kill a boss, you're going to get hundreds or many, many mana points. And then you use those mana points to upgrade your towers or place new towers and spells. So everything's kind of really balanced, and it's a trade-off, and you got to really think hard and take some chances about where you spend your money, just like crypto.
And is the mana fungible at all, or is that soul bound to my account? How does that work on the crypto side of things?
Yeah, so mana is game only. So what's happening on the crypto side of things is, as you proceed through the waves, you're collecting rewards. These rewards are going to be these fiend souls, which are soul bound and connected to the account. And you can use them to upgrade. You also are going to get SPS, and you might even win potions and packs as well. So every time you complete a wave, you're going to be getting more and more stuff. When you complete the entire game, you get to keep all the stuff that you've claimed or that you've earned throughout the waves. You also, if you feel like you're getting too close and getting, about to, you don't want to push your luck anymore, you can actually resign after a wave and hightail it with the rewards you got. But of course, you're going to be leaving a lot on the table.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts about this. When we first kind of talked about that and brought it through, I was just stoked. So the I don't know, just good to see like different methodologies, different music, different strategies. It feels pretty thought through, and then having like this I don't know, double jeopardy kind of thing of take your chances, earn more, the double or nothing kind of aspect. That just feeds my my excitement for this. Like, let's up the stakes, people. Up the stakes.
Awesome. Yeah, and if it's not obvious too, it's a single player game. So I think, eventually we do have multiplayer plans, but the fact that it's single player, a little more casual, we're gonna have a nice tutorial as well. It should draw a whole lot more people in to the Splinterlands world, we believe, because it's kind of a different type of game, a little more casual, played in short sessions. And it's also something that's going to grow in scale as we add more levels and more tower types, etc.
So in the animation that we've seen, it looks like the game is playing and it's moving and I'm picking cards and I'm doing all this stuff. What's left to take this from something that lives on your server and that our players can't play to something that the players can engage with? Like, this feels like there's a full experience here. Maybe it's not a complete experience. I'm not sure that this game will ever be complete in that sense that there's no more changes ever to be made. But um, when does this become a playable experience, and what's left to turn it into a playable experience, or maybe in the opposite order?
Yeah, that's great. This is a real gameplay video. I mean, it's obviously edited together a little bit, but there's nothing fake here in terms of this is not animation that's just created as like a sizzle reel. This is the real game. It is actually playable now, but we're going to put it in front of the community soon, within a matter of weeks. I can't say the exact date. We have to do a lot of wiring and connecting it to the existing Splinterlands platform and account. And as far as who gets to play first, we're going to open it up to a certain number of pack holders. And we're going to decide on that amount and that threshold. But people that own a certain amount of packs are going to be able to play and experience it first. We're going to really want their opinions and feedback. And then we'll slowly start opening that up to more and more people. And obviously connecting it into the real earning piece, we have to do very carefully. And that's going to be happening in the next few months.
How do you think this compares to other games? There's Clash Royale and there's Bloons Tower Defense. I think those are probably two of the biggest games that are out there for tower defense. Like, how much have we drawn off of those games? How much of this really feels original to us? What's the I don't know, just maybe clarify some things that are similar, some things that are different that if you're playing these games already, what about them will look and feel familiar, and what do you think will look and feel different?
Absolutely. So yeah, it's the games that we look at are Kingdom Rush is another very big tower defense genre that we looked or kind of franchise that we've looked at a lot. And so at first glance, when you first jump in and play, the game will have levels, and you'll play through the levels. There'll be kind of set towers and spells you can use. It'll open up a little at a time. We're going to introduce each tower with each new level and each new spell. It's going to feel like a single player premium tower defense game. It should be fun and balanced and have that same feel that you'd playing Bloons or Kingdom Rush. At certain points, though, you're going to go into what we call free-for-all mode, which is where you're going to have really random, weird, emergent things happen in terms of how many fiends come and their strength and magical effects and limitations. And that's where a lot of the earning is going to take place, where you're going to be replaying these levels a lot of times in a lot of ways, taking chances, trying out different tower combinations, and that's where it's going to feel like nothing else, a little even more roguelike than perhaps we've seen before. So that's definitely experimental. We're gonna have to tune that, see how that feels. But in a way, it's two games at once. It's a fun, straightforward premium experience, and then it's also a play to earn game under the hood.
Have you seen, or are any of the other games kind of like a roguelike tower defense? Have you seen that kind of model before?
We've seen it tried, but we're trying something brand new.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that I've seen that or heard that. I've definitely seen it where you can, like, play these things and play them infinitely and play them on different levels, but I'm not sure that I've seen it where stakes are like you die, go back to level 1. Like
Yeah, and
there's some awesomeness there.
and I don't want to misspeak. It's got elements of being roguelike or roguelike, but it's its own thing. People will be able to experience it. But out of the box, it's going to feel much more like a tower defense game you're used to. And if you like the genre, if you've played it years ago and just want to come back to it, we really think you could have a good time and just enjoy yourself, even if you're not in it for the earning experience.
Now, one of the things I didn't see was like the use of spells. Did I miss that? Is that in the demo, or did I just not see it happen? Not catch
Yeah,
it?
it is in the demo, but because we are a few weeks out, some of the animations and the feedback about that is indeed missing. So, but it is in the demo. You place spells down. Oh, and I should also note one of the very big differences here compared to, say, Kingdom Rush or games you're used to is there's a setup mode and then a battle mode, the battle wave. So a lot of tower defense games, you're constantly upgrading and moving towers around and laying down spells during the battle. Because this is a server-based game and server authoritative for security reasons, because it's, we need to make sure it's accurate in terms of real crypto and rewards being on the line. You do your setup in a separate mode. You set up all your spells. You have to really think ahead on where you want to put your spells, how you want them to trigger. Some spells trigger based on the strength of the enemy that walks in. Some spells trigger based on the number of enemies that walk in. So you really have to be clever and think ahead. And that's also a bit different than other games that you might have played.
So, if the game is fairly complete now, like what do you think the next kind of levels of development for this will be? What else? I mean, obviously, the first part is, hey, we need to get it live, and we need to let the players get in here. But once it's live, what are the next like primary objectives for this game? What do we want to see it doing that it's not currently doing?
So we want to put more content in, more levels, because that's going to give it a lot of time and playthrough. We want to always be ahead of the most rabid of players. But the biggest thing are all the meta game pieces, right? So being able to actually manage your defenses in a very flexible way, level up your cards, or level up your defenses rather. Deal with the Fiend Souls. We have this other notion here where Fiend Souls are going to have an in-app purchase model that's similar to Clash Royale or other mobile games, other free-to-play games, where if you don't want to grind and get your Fiend Souls every day, you can go to the Soul Store and there'll be some new souls for sale, and you can just go buy them with DEC. So this will also be a nice little DEC sync that we're building in here. So it's there's a lot of those metagame pieces that need fleshing out, and that of course involves close coordination with the Splinterlands team. So we're working on doing that in a secure way.
One thing I know I'm not like heavy in the game development side for tower defense, but especially with land, we're planning it where if you're upgrading any of the buildings, it takes time. And one of the ways that you can sort of shrink the amount of time necessary to upgrade is to go burn some tokens. So that, in that same vein, seems like something that could be done here.
Yes, exactly. I think the other thing I think we can talk about is that the energy mechanism is going to be per NFT, per card. So every defense is going to have a certain amount of energy. When it runs out of energy, it doesn't mean you can't play it. It just means you won't earn from it. So the way you can replenish it is with also spending some DEC and replenishing that energy.
Yeah, I dig it. Getting more syncs and all that. It just sounds awesome. So when do you have a best guess as to when this thing goes live? Do you think it's in February? Do you think it's in March, maybe April? Like, how is that out of your control and just in the Splinterlands hands, or what's that look like to you?
We could commit for sure now, and my team's going to kill me for saying this, and your team might kill me for saying this, but next few weeks we definitely will be sharing what we call the closed beta with a small number of pack holders. We really want to have real people play it, get feedback quickly. In terms of the full game with all of the earnings and pieces, that's a little harder to nail down just because of all the moving parts and connective tissue. But we're talking, we're really close, right? In terms of the development, the UI, the logic, that's done. As you can see here, even the metagame pieces are done for much of that. It's really just about connecting it all and testing that through. That's going to take that's going to be more on the order of months, but we really are pushing for Q1 to have that ready.
That's pretty good. All right, so short time till beta, and then maybe even in Q1, which is like literally only like 7 or 8 more weeks. We should be able to start chewing on this as a community. So if you haven't seen it, if you go into the shop, there's tower defense packs that are available for sale. There's a limited number. I forget if we're doing 2 or 3 million, but it's not infinite. And hopefully you guys go out there, pick up some packs. DEC is at a discount. It's at like 750 Splintoshis rather than right at 1,000. So the packs are on there's only 2 million. Thank you, Ron. So we're something like what is that? 20% of the way through them, 30%, somewhere in that range. So you're going to want to get in. You're going to want to get these before they run out. And I think you're going to have an opportunity now, but when the game starts going live and people are earning and people are playing, and tower defense is like a fairly reasonably sized part of gaming, right? Like when I think about all these different tower defense games, they're fairly popular in like the app stores and whatnot. Am I mistaken there? Or does this feel like a pretty good genre just in terms of market size of mobile games?
Not just mobile. Yeah, it's a huge genre. And what we really like about it is it goes across a lot of demographics, right? It's it does have a big stats RPG like feel, but men and women like it. People of all ages seem to like it. So it's a very accessible genre, but also goes very deep and gets complicated real fast.
Sweet. Well, I don't want to keep you all night. Is there anything else that you want to share about tower defense before I let you out of here? And I guess, we talk about it specifically for Soul Keep. Yeah, I thought that name was pretty awesome.
Cool. Yeah. And we'll share the video in our dev diary as well. And we just want feedback, and we really can't wait to unleash this and see what people really think once you play it. So we're excited.
And I guess, what is it built in? Is this built in Unity? Is this built in a custom thing? Is it a web game? Is it a mobile game? Like how do I describe this to somebody?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, one of the toughest things is this is all a web game. So this all works in the browser. We've taken great pains to make it work and be pretty good to play in mobile browser too. So you could just jump in and on your phone, play a couple sessions. So it's all built in something called Phaser, which is an HTML5 engine, and then it's just a lot of the surrounding pages is good old fashioned HTML CSS tech.
Sweet. Yeah, we do a lot of like web-based everything here. It's not just good to be able to put on mobile, but it's a really nice fit with anything that's blockchain, because blockchain is basically like a web-based database. So all right.
Yep.
Anything else that we need to talk about before I'll let you go here? Anything else you want to share about Doublecoconut or Soulkeep?
Just save your souls while you can. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you heard him. Sometime in February, we're going to try to get up the beta. Sometime by the end of Q1, we're going to try to get you guys playing live. If you haven't picked up your tower defense packs yet, I think you ought to. Looks like a lot of fun to me, and just excited that this thing is here. Excited to get it going, and I'm personally a fan of tower defense games. So let's see how many souls I can extract from these undead little monsters. Pretty excited. Thanks, David.
Awesome. Thanks, Aggie. Bye, guys.
All right. So that's that. So let's go back into the land of the Splinterlands, and let's pull on Harry for a little bit of a words with wizards. But we can do that. Sorry, I'm out of order. We got to go do the support tutorial. So we'll bring on Grapthar first. And within this, we got this deck B thing. Grapthar, maybe you can tell me what deck B is, why I should buy it, and what I can do with it.
Sure. So before we get there, I just wanted to mention a couple of things. The support guides in our articles, we have a lot of stuff about actual gameplay. We have, tech stuff and how to install keychain, how to keep your keys safe and all that. But we also try and get articles out before releases so we can have things like FAQs and general info. And this is a good example of that. So if you go to support.splinterlands.com, you can just search for DECB and you'll find both of our articles. We have an FAQ and a guide on how to buy it. The FAQ has all the basic information. We have a link at the top for the original Peak D post that describes the whole thing. But essentially, DEC batteries are locked up DEC that gives you a 20% discount when you spend it on things in game. So if normally you'd be spending that DEC at the peg, you're getting 20% off essentially. And that includes things we think like buildings in land, but it'll also be guild buildings, other upgrades like that, and potentially other sinks in the future that we don't know about yet.
Are you going to be able to use Deck B for land, or I'm sorry, for guild buildings immediately, or is that something that's coming?
I believe that is coming in the future. These will be happening later on. The sale is the first part, which is going to be happening on February 8th. That's this Wednesday, and that's 6 p.m. UTC. And that you'll be able to buy it. We have a guide for that, so we'll get to it. There's going to be a supply of 2 billion tokens. And the sale is going to go for either 60 days or until those 2 billion are sold. And you'll be able to use DEC or vouchers. These will be in-game vouchers, so you need to make sure to get them in-game. And in the bottom of our FAQ, if you scroll down there, you'll be able to see that we have a link that says, how can I purchase DECB? If you have any questions about it before the sale, you can click on that. That'll take you to our guide about it. It's very simple. You just go to the DEC management page. If you can click on that, Rondon. Thank you. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see a full image of our screen. Essentially, you can follow the numbers there, but step one is just click your DEC balance at the top. You're going to see that this has been completely redesigned and looks awesome. You can go to the batteries section now, which is step 2. It's all numbered. You can enter the amount you want to buy and select how you're going to pay, either DEC or vouchers. That's step 3 and 4. And then you click buy, of course, step 5. And it will ask you to sign that with keychain. And I hope everyone has keychain set up. If you don't, we have guides on that. So please look that up. It's highly recommended. And after you buy it, you'll see it on your balance, which is on the left-hand side there, but also this is a zoomed in image. You'll see it right there. Yeah, that's on the left-hand side of the DEC management page. So sort of a simple little guide, but we just wanted to make sure people know that it's available before Wednesday. So if you have any concerns about what to do when it goes on sale, feel free to reference that. It's there for everyone.
Rock on. Yeah, excited to see deck batteries out there. I'm planning on picking up a few of my own. We'll see exactly how much of my liquid tokens I'll go burn through. But yeah, I mean, I know that I'm going to want some guild buildings. I own a region. I figure I'm going to have to burn what I think could safely be called a truck ton of DEC and vouchers and all this, and SPS is all going to have to go into land. So might as well get this while DEC is on a discount, and might as well get it while deck batteries arouse me a small discount there, or a decent. It's like what, 20%?
20%. Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good.
Yep, it's great.
All right. Anything else on your brain, Grapthar? Anything else we need to talk through for deck batteries?
No, but we just want to say generally, if anyone has any feedback about these articles, if you ever find something that is an error, a typo, or anything, feel free to send us a support ticket, include a screenshot. We're always happy to update, fix anything that, or if you think something needs to be explained better, the community, if you have any input, we're happy to listen. So please just let us know.
Rock on. All right.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We got a question in the audience. How can I?
Oh, we do. Okay.
The "How can I purchase Deck B" link brings me to the Zendesk sign-in page.
Okay, well, I will fix that right now for you. That is not supposed to happen. Zendesk sometimes has weird issues where the links ask you to sign in. Generally, if I edit that, it will fix it. I apologize for that. This is a weird Zendesk guide thing, but I'll fix it right now.
Rock on.
Thank you for letting us know.
Sure. Thanks, Grapthar.
Yep.
Good to have you on.
Yeah, appreciate it. Have a good
So
day.
I alluded to the fact that we were going to talk to some wizards, including Harry. I think we might actually have both Cryptomancer and InvestyGator on at the same time here. So I'd like to go first. I think we should do InvestyGator first, because he's going to kind of describe the the whole piece that we're launching tomorrow, the whole update, and then from there we can kind of go into more specifics, and Harry can lean on Cryptomancer for describing all the set and addition changes. Investigator, do you want to kind of take a turn and describe for us what the heck's going on in tomorrow's update?
Sure. I'm glad that we did the support first, so I'll skip over most of the DECB stuff, but that's going to be going out tomorrow and going to be available for purchase on Wednesday.
Now,
As
just before we go on, like we last time you were on, we talked about the size of the release. Like, if that is the normal size, is this bigger? Is this smaller? Like, how much are we trying to tackle in tomorrow's release?
It's a pretty big release. I'm going to say it's about the same size as last week. We've actually got stuff that we're holding off for a week that's probably could go out, but just we haven't had time to QA test.
So is that because QA is slow, or because we have so much freaking content that we are pouring out of our enhancement team and platform team and ops team that there's just like so much to go through?
Yeah, we've definitely been giving QA more to test than they have time in the week to get through, especially since some of these are pretty big changes that require a lot of testing across lots of parts of the game to make sure things are still working right.
And my brain wants to go start including players as QA testers. I don't know if that's doable, but that's what my brain is telling me. A little bit of that is something that we ought to do. But anyways, I'm sorry to interrupt. Why don't you go? Can you tell us what's in the release for tomorrow? What's going to happen?
Okay, so DECB, which initially is not going to be usable for any current items, but we'll be adding things in the future. And I believe Matt is going to make a post about that if he hasn't already. The new card sets, which is what Cryptomancer is going to be talking about. So I'll just skim over that. We are going to be making some gameplay updates and corrections. The conscript summoner ability will no longer work with silent summoners rule set. It was not supposed to. You're not supposed to be able to use gladiators when you're not getting your summoner buffs. There are a number of issues with dispelling things that it's not supposed to. So it will no longer remove scavenge buffs or last stand bonuses. And we are also reworking the rules that will appear in alpha or single edition tournaments and brawls. Right now, there's occasional rule set combinations that will make very few cards available, or things that just don't make sense for those editions. So hopefully it will be a little more fun to play in those sort of tournaments. There are some land map updates, which I think may be what Nate is going to get into a little bit later. So I will just say that. Tech modernization. We're going to be moving the gift acknowledgement notices onto the tech modernization pages. The SPS management vouchers tab is going to be moved into tech modernization client. The DEC management page, we did a bunch of cleanup work on. We're kind of combining the SPS dashboard with the DEC page. So there is the links at the top that you can go to SPS, DEC, vouchers, licenses, pools, and proposals. That'll show up on both management pages. And a lot of little quality of life stuff, fixing so that it won't let you put in more than 3 decimal places, and that the DEC transfer tab is going to be the default one because that's what most people are usually going to DEC management for. Also related to the voucher update, we are going to be moving most of the voucher handling off to the SPS validators. So you're going to start seeing on-chain vouchers and in-game vouchers. So when you go to transfer vouchers, you will need to move them on-chain before sending them to another player with this initial implementation. Let's see, we've got updates to the tournament pages so that in-progress tournaments that you're participating in will be featured at the top, regardless of which filter you have selected, so you know if any tournaments have started. Another update that Cryptomancer made is that you can now start tournaments at 15-minute intervals instead of only every half an hour. We added a no attack filter to the market, so now you can sort to those no attack cards that you want to buy a little easier. For a third-party developer request, we've added the previous season information into the settings. And we're still doing more performance improvements, trying to make things run more efficiently. And there have been a number of small fixes pushed out during the week. There was an issue with Brave browser wallet not working for liquidity pool claims that we fixed, and some issues with PayPal and liquidity pools that were fixed right after the last update as soon as we noticed them. So yeah, a lot of stuff going out tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, that was another, solid couple minutes of you reading off the list of all the stuff that we're shipping. I mean, to me it's remarkable. That was the kind of thing that we might do once a month or once a quarter last go round. And now that's what it looks like every single week that we're shipping code. I mean, it's hard to not notice that just the amount of code that we're shipping seems to be drastically larger these days than it used to be. So, all right. Anything else you want to add about the release tomorrow?
Nope. Think I've covered most of it, and looking forward to it, and looking forward to try out all the new set changes that Cryptomancer's made.
Oh, that's a good segue. Thanks for helping with the segue. All right, Mancer, you're up. So tell me about what are the set changes, and what are you doing, and why are you doing it?
All right, so card sets. This is going to be affecting tournaments in brawls, and we are basically reorganizing how we think about certain groups of cards. So instead of thinking of them in terms of additions, now we're going to be thinking of them in terms of sets, where a set means all the cards that have the same type of card frame. So for example, the Chaos Legion set that consists of all the cards with Chaos Legion borders. That's the core Chaos Legion edition, Rift Watchers cards, the Chaos Legion reward cards, including the new Soulbound cards, and Chaos Legion promo cards like Dr. Blight, Bruni, and Lux Vega. So now when you go to a Chaos Legion tournament, you'll be able to use all those cards together in the tournament and not reward cards from other editions like Untamed, if it's only a Chaos Legion only tournament. So all the details about that are in the announcement post that we made. So you can go back and read that post if you're a bit fuzzy on the details. But I do want to clarify a couple of the important points, because we'll be going through a bit of a transition period now as we move away from additions and move to using sets. So what this is going to look like, immediately after the release tomorrow, you're not going to notice anything different right away. So sets will not apply until new tournaments are made after the release. So for all of the existing tournaments that you already see on the tournament list page, even the ones that are in the future that haven't started yet, they're still going to be based on additions. So they're going to run exactly like normal. Once all of these existing tournaments are complete and we have a new batch of tournaments added, all of the new tournaments going forward will be sets based. So there's going to be a period of time for the next couple of weeks where we have a mix of sets based and addition based tournaments. So it might be a little confusing, but that'll go away once we're past this this transition phase. And you'll be able to see the difference when you look at the tournament details screen. So the language on that screen will say whether it's addition based or sets based. And if you hover your mouse over the little set icons, like if you hover over that Chaos Legion icon, it'll say this is Chaos Legion Edition, or it'll say this is Chaos Legion Set. So you can tell that way. And besides tournaments, this is also going to affect brawls. Now, a new brawl cycle is just about to start. So this will be the last brawl cycle to use editions. The first brawl cycle to use sets will be the one that starts after the release. So not this upcoming brawl cycle, but the one after that will be set-based. And in brawls, you'll see the phrase changing. So the announcement post also details the changes to the brawl phrase, but it's basically like what you would expect. Like the alpha beta reward promo fray will change to alpha beta sets. The Chaos Legion Untamed fray will change to be based on sets. So it's pretty logical. It works like you would expect. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing how it shakes things up.
Okay, so we're gonna get some new metas. We're gonna get some new battle plans and new tactics in the tournaments. Everybody's gonna want to know what are you working on next? Have you figured that out, or what's the next piece you're building? Because are you gonna keep working on sets and expand that elsewhere, or what's up next on your agenda?
So next, I'll be looking at a bunch of miscellaneous things, probably some smaller little projects. There's some quality of life improvements we want to do for tournaments. There's some changes we're going to be making to the leagues, and some quality of life stuff around rating points and things. Probably the very next thing that I'm going to be looking at is making the edition filters on the collection screen work in terms of sets. So we want those filters on the collection screen, the market screen, and the barracks banish screen to work in terms of sets, not editions. So that'll be the next thing coming soon.
Do you think, is that a big project, a small project? Is that what you just described? Are we going to crank those things out in February, or do you think it'll take longer?
That'll be a fairly small project. So the creative team has actually completely redesigned the way the collection screen works, and they've designed a really cool looking vertical filter bar that's kind of similar to what you see on the Rooney page and also the land page. But that will be a bigger change, and that will come later on once we move the collection screen into the tech modernization framework. So in the shorter term, we're going to be doing a simpler change, just slightly modifying the way the edition filters look so that it'll work with sets instead of editions. So that may be coming probably in the next couple weeks, I'd expect.
Okay. And then do you have your eyes on a bigger project as kind of I do think it's good to have, like, here's your multi-month, and then here's some little stuff, and here's a multi-month, and here's some little stuff, because that your brain is kind of reset when you go after something new. Do you have another big project on your brain is what you want to go after next?
Probably the next really big thing I'll be working on is guild alliances. So I'll spend some time getting some of these smaller miscellaneous things taken care of, and then that'll give time to finish speccing out guild alliances, and then I'll jump into that once the specs are ready to go.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that get going. We have that down for Q2. Hopefully we can get that started before we're all the way through March. But I don't know. We'll see what that looks like. Matt has a ton of plans for, like, how we're going to burn SBS and DEC and you stake your cards and all this through your guild alliance. So it's kind of like, not quite like land, because I think land is a much more ambitious project, but it's got a lot of those elements that we think are the future of this game. So excited to see what you guys come up with, and how long it takes to get that kind of up and running. Okay. Anything else you want to add, Mancer, before we head on out of here?
Nope. We've got lots of exciting things coming, and we're just cranking stuff out, just churning it out one after the other. Lots of big releases still to come.
Yeah, actually, you've been here for a long time. I'm not looking at the size of the actual release. I'm relying on other people kind of describing to me, just how much content is here. But you're actually looking at the code and doing these things. Is it your sense that this is like the fastest pace that we as an organization have shipped code, or do you think that I'm off in that assessment?
Oh, I agree. I think we're really moving quickly these days, and the size of the releases is impressive. It's amazing how much stuff that we're cramming in every time, as opposed to, say, a couple years ago or even 6 months ago. I think we're really churning through it.
Yeah, some of the reason why I completely embraced the sort of agile methodologies and the extent that we've done them was my like previous work with you. I know that not everything that you do, I would say, is like 100% agile, but the way you would describe, here are the steps, here are the things, these are the components, really putting those all down and then tracking your progress on them. I'm just like, this is the most useful thing that I've seen. And then the sort of more recent agile developments of how we do that, it was like that on steroids. And I just kept saying there's no way that this is gonna slow us down. I mean, I know the little bit of reporting time or the little bit of like writing time is annoying, but it's sort of like, I'm a chemist, right? So I taught all these students, and the best kids in class always showed their work and they always put their units in. And the worst kids in class wouldn't write their units and they wouldn't show their work, but then they also wouldn't know how to get to the right answers. So there's some of this that is just I don't know, it's just reminiscent of that, of the if we can get this organization putting in all of the success criteria, all the planning, the steps that they're going to do it, the order that it happens in, and we collaborate across the product team and the development team, the creative team, and everybody knows what's going on. I just couldn't see how that wouldn't help us. And a bunch of that came from my working with you over the course of the years. So uh, I'm glad that you see things as it's the fastest it's been. It's certainly my take. This is the fastest it's been, and um, I'm glad to hear that these releases are crazy big. They're not just crazy long by InvestyGator, but they're actually long releases with lots of code and lots of changes, and really feel like the team is killing it. So thanks for sharing your perspective on that.
My pleasure. The agile methodology has been working great for us so far. I think it really helps to keep everyone focused on what needs to be done and try to prevent distractions and scope creep from getting in the way.
And I haven't had a single person tell me, "Oh, we're going to have to redo a lot of this." That happened frequently. Where like people were working their ass off. This has never been an issue of Splinterlands devs aren't doing the work. This is like a really hardworking team. But before we would have to like poor you and like the collection power shit that we put you through. It's like, we need you to go redesign this 3 times. Like, that's not on you. You worked your tail off. It's on me and Matt and everybody else that was not designing it ahead of time and allowing all those failures in place, so that you would have to spend infinitely more time coding. And I just feel like we don't have to do that these days, and that we're just on the right path from the beginning. And thanks for being part of this. Thanks for doing it, and thanks to the devs. They've been killing it. Okay, let's head on over. I think our next little bit here is going to be Brawlhalla with Weirdbeard. And so Weirdbeard, we got some set changes. We got some tournament changes. Are the people excited about this? Are they nonchalant? Do they care, or what up?
I mean, I've definitely talked about the sets for 5 months now. People are going to be very excited to be able to get Dr. Blight and Chain Golem back in in tournaments and brawls. So I know that that's like a massive quality of life thing. And I do want to point out one of the other things Cryptomancer, or maybe it was an investigator that mentioned it earlier, is that we had this really annoying bug to where if you went to the in progress tournaments, it didn't highlight them like it did for upcoming tournaments. We're going through and like right now stamping out a lot of really tiny bugs that annoy and like beguile people that have to go through tournaments all the time. So I know that's going to be very good. But yeah, I mean the sets
Oh,
thing,
excellent.
I think especially we had to get this out before all of the new reward cards came out, because as soon as those come out, people are going to want to use them in tournaments.
Okay, so we have that kind of release. Were there other things on your brain that you would want to talk about for either brawls or tournaments in
Yeah,
particular?
the very first one that I want to put in there is I am putting into the Discord chat right now a Google form for people to answer a really simple question. And this is just so that we can gather kind of some immediate feedback. Talking about internally whether or not we want to pay out the gladiator tournaments with SPS or possibly merits. You know, we kind of kicked around the idea, but then we realized, well, we don't even know if players actually even want that. So that's a question that we have to do first. So I wanted to put it out there so that people could just really easy give us a thumbs up or thumbs down, because it'll make it so that we don't have to waste any time if nobody wants those.
Merits are out there. It still seems like it's pretty slow going to go max your gladiator cards. Do you feel
Yeah.
like inflating the merit supply at all is going to hurt that, help that, or how do you see that?
I think it could. I mean, Matt definitely has his thumb on whether or not it's, you know, we want to overinflate or not. But I don't even think we've gotten that far yet in considering it, because it's got to, you know, again, if people don't even want it, there's no reason to waste everybody's time to go and figure out, you know, like overall implications of everything. If we turn around and people just go, yeah, that's not even worth it.
Okay. All right. Other than brawls and tournaments, other stuff on your mind, or are there new tournaments? I guess we're making those new tournaments now that have the sets, right? I
So
guess that happens tomorrow.
No, so it doesn't, because I got 2 weeks ahead and made 2 weeks worth of tournaments because we weren't sure exactly when this was going to be dropping. And of course, after I make 2 weeks worth of tournaments, we get the note being like, "Hey, it's going out this week." And it's just like, "Oh, awesome." So, as soon as those finish on, I think the 17th is when it goes through right now. As soon as the ones that you currently see on the tournaments page are up, then you will be able to get into those new tournaments that allow for the reward cards and promo cards grouped by sets. But I do have,
Let's see. Try to get some of the new ones made, right?
yeah, I mean,
Even if it's for like 2 weeks out.
oh yeah, well, yeah, I could do that. It was just more, I was considering going through and canceling a week's worth and then getting them back up. So we're gonna ask if people
Oh
mind
God,
whether
no.
or not. Yeah,
No. Oh, that's so much work.
it
No
is.
way. No way.
Um,
You're all lovely people, but we're not canceling a week's worth of tournaments just so that you can get a new feature a little bit early. It's like hours of work that we don't need to do.
I still love you though. And then we also are going to start opening up. We made a couple of fray compositions, I believe, like a month and a half, 2 months ago, if my timing is right on there. No, it's definitely 2, maybe almost 3 months. So we're actually going to be going for reaching out and getting feedback on how people have liked the changes that we made. We added more alpha beta promo reward phrase, but with the inclusion of sets now for the cards, that set or that tournament series sort of gets a nerf, right? Because beforehand it was a little bit more scoped, and now you get a lot more stuff to play with in there. So we will be putting out surveys coming up this week for people in guilds and brawls to give us feedback on that. And then one other thing that I want to drop the link to here is that we have narrowed it down to the top 10 of our Splinterlands community leaders. These are the people that I'm going to be relying on and sort of using as a bridge between us and the community from the community side, right? Like, at the end of the day, I'm a company man. So, you know, you have to always want people that are of the community to help us with all these community proposals that have been coming in. So we have the top 10 people, and here is the voting form for people to be able to go in. You get 1 vote. Top 5 here are going to people that are the community leaders for the next 3 months or so while we work through these new community proposals.
That's a strong list. Shoot, I don't know how to say this. Sanasos, Gene Pool, Moriarty, Dave McCoy, Bulldog, Gank, Azir Khan, Schnegecko, Rick on the Mountain, and Infidel. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah, and again, that was all from weeks. I think we had close to 400 people that submitted ballots where you could name anybody throughout the community. So it's pretty dope. And I'm excited, especially because as Nate will say if you prod him, the community proposals are a little daunting on our side, only because it like we don't have like this is a new thing for us, right? So we're still working out kinks. How do we bring those up, and like how do we help the community shape them so that they're not like putting creative in a box and saying, like, oh, they have to do these exact things this way. So it's going to take for the community proposals a little bit more hand holding, which isn't bad, but bringing on more community members to help with that hand holding is always kind of beneficial for us.
Are there community proposals that you want to bring up for tonight? Are there hot topic issues?
I mean, let's take a look at them right now. I think right now the only one that's really in the pre-proposal is the reserve enough Chaos Legion packs to provide rewards until Rebellion. That one currently is failing, but it still has 7 days or so. The big thing is that it's losing pretty heavily by volume, to where it's 24.7 million SPS have already voted on it. I don't have any opinions on this one, but again, like, we're trying to make it so that when players bring these proposals up and pay the fee to get them posted, that they already kind of have been massaged a little bit by the team, so that we can make sure that it's like the best way to propose something when it comes to impacting work, right? Like, you always bring up don't make a proposal that says we're going to take all of Aggie's stuff and donate it to charity. Some of these things we just want to make sure that they are tailored to be more of like in the spirit of how we change them, and not like the exact specifications of how we go about executing on some of these. Oh, I have a misspelling. I put an N
Yeah.
instead of M. Sorry, everybody.
And that would totally change my pronunciation.
I know.
Simsahas? How would you even say that?
I would assume it's Simsahas, but I could be wrong and probably am.
Simsahas. All right. So there's I put out a post today that definitely riled the Mavs. And it's sort of like us reserving 500,000 card packs that we would use to build bronze and silver decks, and put those decks on Nifty Arcade as a way for new players to experience the game. And it got a lot of slack and a lot of flack, or a lot of angry people right off the bat. Anytime we announce anything new, there's usually like a good quadrant of people that want to go after us for it. But after a little bit of Liam, a lot of 16-bit, and me, we kind of walked in there and tried to just kind of like talk through it some. It seemed like a lot of the hate died down, and we got to a pretty good spot of people understanding, like, hey, look, Splinterlands isn't trying to make money off of this. Where the data that came in was that Nifty Arcade is basically the best way to go onboard new users right now. And so we wanted to go support that and trying to get as many new players as possible doing this as we could. So I don't know if you saw kind of early hate. I don't know if you saw kind of later calm, but what's your take on the current state of providing Splinterlands, providing decks for the Nifty Arcade platform?
I think the big thing to take out of it is making sure that players understand that this is a thing that converts and brings in new players. And I think a lot of the frustration comes from us not launching like a massive advertising campaign, right? And I would argue that that's not the way to do it. If Liam was here, Liam would absolutely jump in on this, but it's a matter of like advertising right now. If we were to just do traditional, like banners or sponsored videos and stuff like that, is going to convert at way less of a percentage than doing this through Nifty Arcade. It's been, we've seen bumps. We have the numbers that show, like, you can tell when we do a Nifty Arcade activation, because you see that little spike there. And I think it's a really high converting way to attract those new players that we really should be bringing in right now. You know, you always say like now is the best time as ever to get into Splinterlands. So like going after those players that are already interested in Web3 and already interested in like Web3 gaming, I think it is just a slam dunk for the moment. Like I'm always the person who goes and thinks about the wider world, right? Like Web2 traditional gamers are who I want to get to, but I think that the low hanging fruit of bringing in some of these new players right now today is definitely through the Nifty Arcade platform.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried doing bigger spends, and we just don't get sticky adoptions from like Facebook. But we get really sticky adoptions through Nifty Arcade. So we're like, all right, I think Matt chided me a little bit of just like, why would you go this big? And I'm like, I don't have an opportunity for like 9 more months, right? So it's gonna be a while until Rebellion's here. So if we want to do something, we kind of have to do it now.
Yeah.
I didn't have the data on what Nifty Arcade was doing until very recently. And I looked at it and I'm like, my God, this is awesome.
Yep.
This is some of the best, like, they're just spending a ton of money, but not just like with Splinterlands. I mean, just in the community, they're buying your cards. These guys that come in, they go and buy cards off the market. It's your, for the players that are trying to leave, it's exit liquidity. It's new players coming into the ecosystem. It's hungry players. It's people looking for yield and all this other stuff. Then Nifty, one of the parts that I like is that I've heard crap about bots this entire time.
Yes.
Just like, man, it's been months, if not a year, of bots are bad. And it's like, you can't run a decentralized game and ban bots. I mean, maybe this is what happens, and we get a committee, and a committee says you can play, but you can't. And we allow this sort of like weird, not terribly authentic crypto experience to happen. But the nice thing is that I feel super strongly about that on like the back end of how the game works, but on like a private, shop or operation like Nifty, ban bots all you want. It's like that's your private terms of service. That's not a blockchain level service. That is a private company offering you a whole set of opportunities that didn't exist before they got here. Or if they did, it wasn't like convenient or easy at all. And now it is. And it's like, they're very committed to having this not be a bot run operation. It's humans. So as long as that's the case, I think this is amazing. I'm excited to give them access to assets. And then for the assets, anything that we get out of this, we're not like planning to sell. This isn't a money making operation for Splinterlands. It's, these decks are going to get burned, but we think this is one of the data is showing us. It's not my feelings. It's not my gut. It's the data showing us this is one of the best ways to onboard new users. So
yes.
That's where I got excited. Like I saw that and I was like, well, holy crap, we should put as many decks as it makes sense to put in here.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is people are talking about wanting to make sure that they can authenticate that it's real scholars and not people that are just like going around the system to try to get something, that they shouldn't. But that's the like you said, that's the great thing about having Nifty be kind of the heavy in that situation is that they're their own company, man. Like they're able to have those really tight terms of services. They're able to enforce like really whatever they want when it comes to this and make sure that, hey, if people are only using them for a month or they're, like, hey, we want to make sure that if you do this, we can also trace you to these other accounts or tying to however they want to do it. They have a system behind the scenes that they've talked about a little bit. It like you said, it makes it really easy because if we bring and raise concerns and we go like, hey, this might be an issue, they're really quick to be able to adjust and make sure that that's taken care of.
Yeah, they're super fast. Yeah, there's still some other things, like Lyra down there is saying, hey, what about the season rentals? That's on the enhancement team roadmap right now. So I don't know how far they are or how deep they are into that, but I saw them doing that in sprint planning not that long ago. So this is like nearing like actual production level things. So some of the other things, there's only these assets can only be operated by a player for 30 days. And then the rental cancels. And it's not currently set up so you can't get another rental from Splinterlands if you've already had one, but I think they're going to implement that. So, it's just, this is not an infinite way. And then, the earnings in silver or bronze are, merits, potions, a little bit of SPS, and some reward cards that are soul bound. So like, most of what you get by doing this is not like heavy SPS or lots of fungible things that kind of inflate the economy. There's a very small amount of SPS that would go to these new players. So it's really the closest thing I can get to, let's give 1,000 people an opportunity to experience this game and see if they like it or not. It's not just getting clubbed like a baby seal by, some operating bots that have all the cards that you don't. You just get crushed with the starter cards. You get a good starting experience, and then you can figure out, do I like this game or not from there? And then how do you want to participate in the economy, and how do you want to participate in the community? And Level Up Life was talking in chat earlier. He's one of the Mavs around here, and he said he's introduced 50 people this way, and every single one of them is still playing and still collecting. And I haven't heard a stat like that in a long time. So I just feel like this is one of the strongest things that we could possibly do to onboard new users, to help with the new user experience. You give them some kick-ass cards, let them earn a little bit, get a little taste, and then say, oh, you don't get these cards anymore. And hopefully they get that withdrawal, or they've already got the bug and they're coming in with us.
Yeah, I mean,
And
like,
to that end, if this sucks and it doesn't work, we'll burn all the cards. Like, again, we're not trying to make money off of this. We want this to be a new player recruiting tool. If it doesn't work as a new player recruiting tool, I'm not just going to like flood the market with 500,000 packs worth. We'll go delete the decks, whatever. We're going to delete them anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one other thing too is to remember, like, Fat Jimmy makes a really good point. And when we're talking about pack burning, it was just that packs would be burned as they were there, right? Like, this is the amount, this is what will be burned every single day. If somebody were to come and pick them up and buy all the packs on the market today, then there would be no more burning. So it's not about taking those away and all of a sudden we're holding on to them and putting them out there and everything. They're set to be burned, and if it doesn't work, like you said, like, we're not going to resell them or anything like that. Like, it's going to be burned. So I think that this is like a really easy way to alleviate that like beginner hump to get all these new players into the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think the trick will be, let's go look at data. So 2 months from now, or 2 months from whenever these packs are created, we can go look, 2 cycles worth of a player renting for a month and see, what are they doing? Are they buying cards? Are there new spell books that are getting purchased? Are there new accounts getting set up? Like, what's actually happening and how is it operating? And then assuming that it works anything like we see, it's going to be a little bit tricky to tell if it's, just markets picking up or not, but you should be able to go look at a generalized account list, and then look at this account list, or just look at, sort through a random stack of bronze or silver decks and go compare that to what it's doing versus the nifty decks and see what we got there. So, I don't know. I think we'll be able to pull some data and get something out of this.
Yeah, again, like, everything that we're trying to, at least marketing side, everything that we're trying to move towards doing is just data based, right? Like, we're not trying to just make guesses and hope that they work, because that's how you redo work and that's how you waste time, is when you take a stab on it and you just, don't know if it's going to pan out. So doing this is an easy numbers driven way to know, are we bringing on new players? Are we converting them into longer term players? Are we increasing the value of the accounts as they stay with us? Like, all of that makes it really easy through Nifty.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what works and what doesn't. Shouldn't be too long before we can tell. And if the whole thing sucks, all the cards get burned anyways.
I don't think the whole thing sucks.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, my data tells me here, the piece that I saw says this is the best way that we can possibly do this. So I'm excited for that. I think we ought to do it, give it a shot. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I guess I'll get flamed extra hard for it. But if we start seeing new players kind of come in, and even new guilds, I mean, Nifty had some play to earn guilds that were interested in coming in. And I've had like sales calls with them before, and they just can't commit. They can't be like, I don't know if my guys will like this enough. Well, if we can give like 300 of their players some kind of in-game experience where it doesn't cost them anything, or up to 1,000 of their guild members can go try this thing, we're going to start pulling people in, and then we'll see what happens from there. But hopefully, it involves buying cards, building decks, buying stuff off the market, buying stuff directly from Splinterlands, renting individual cards that they're missing, and all the general economic activity that we hope to see from these folks.
Definitely. And again, I think Nifty are good people. So that's my number one thing that always makes things easier.
Okay. So what else do we have here? I think we should go to Nate and kind of talk through some of the creative stuff. And I don't know, let's see what new stuff is coming. So thanks, Weirdbeard. Appreciate your time here. And Nate, there's a lot of development stuff that's happening. Are you keeping up on the creative side? Are you overwhelmed, or are you sending, ransom notes for whatever, or are you guys, functioning? How you doing?
No, I think things are going well. I think we're at a good pace. I think that we're on track to still make sure that roadmap happens. So it's all good.
That's sweet. So what do you feel like talking about tonight? What do you want to bring in?
Let's see. I think Farpatrod has clued people in recently in the land channel. If you're not following Farpatrod's little hints and clues and sneak peeks and advice and whatnot that's going on the land channel, you should go check that out. But I think he's clued people into the fact that there might be another release hitting soon, at least to the Mavs test server at the very least, if not going live soon. So I know that it should look something like this. I'll pop that in here, and it basically it's the same thing that you guys are accustomed to seeing, big map view and everything, but notice the territories could be toggled off and on. So right now they're all off. So it gives you a little different perspective when you're looking at the map. Being able to turn off the territories is kind of cool, because you look at it and it's easier to grasp, like, oh yeah, okay, the land of prosperity, maybe I do want to go ahead and claim some plots there. It looks nice, it looks good, there's a forest there, there's a river, whatever the heck's going on. Yeah, that looks good. But when it has those colored overlays kind of like stuck over there, and you can't really, it looks like kind of hazy, you can't quite see what's going on, then it might make people less enthused about making those claims happen. So that's cool, and you'll be able to get the cool on hover effects, and you'll be able to do the zooming in and out and that stuff. And then I think after that we're going to start digging into the region view, hopefully pretty soon, with the grids and all that stuff. So that'll be the next step after that gets released.
Yeah, this is looking sick. Like when I don't know, how far away are we, do you think? Are we nearing the time where we can actually survey? Do you think we'll actually hit Q1? Is this going to get pushed back? What's your main thought there?
Well, we're hoping that, because the advanced land functionality kind of bleeds into the survey phase. And I say that because we want to make sure that when you're able to zoom in and out at a continent view and then click one of those regions, and then it blows up and the clouds dissipate and you're like, oh, whoa, I'm at the region level, and you see that hexagonal grid and all the plots and stuff. We want everything to be functional and work, and it looks nice and it feels polished. So as we're working through the advanced map, well, okay, now we're also looking at the survey, and there's a bit of overlap there. We're working on both at the same time. So and surveying, we found is quite a beast. It's yeah, there's a lot involved, even just the sorting and filtering. Like here's a screenshot of, like, give you guys an idea of what type of filtering. I mean, everything's TBD, subject to change, so I feel like I got to give you that disclaimer. But yeah, like, you look at these filters. This is just part of the filters, right? Yeah, I didn't even catch it all in there. You got to scroll through the page to see more filters and whatnot. But there's expanding and collapsing parts of the filters, where filters are nested under other filters, and there's a lot going on. So we have to make sure it all makes sense. I think the real challenge is as you're changing from map view to grid view to list view, how do you make sure that all this sorting and filtering remains consistent so that there's no confusion? So if I'm looking at, stuff at a map view and then I switch the view over to grid view or list view, then the same elements that were on the map view, we want that same data displayed on the other views. So it's seamless. It feels intuitive. And as we try to, do that, make sense of all these parallel views while introducing all these crazy sorting and filtering, because the combinations are mind-boggling. 14 geography types, 4 different types of land, natural, magical. For each magical land, there might be like 6 different elements of magic that you can kind of harvest. You got occupied land, you got the keeps and the castles and all of it. Once you kind of like do the math, you figure, holy crap, there's a lot of different combinations here, and the sorting and filtering has to support that. So yeah, that's what the design team right now is really looking at. We want to make sure that when this thing launches, it feels good. So and I think we're making a lot of headway with that.
You still feeling confident that all the surveying is done in Q1? You think we'll hit that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Q1, everything seems to point that it should be fine. That by end of Q1, so basically next month, you guys will be surveying your land. You'll be, seeing what you got. Speaking of which, I know last town hall Matt had said, Nate, where's the deeds? Show us some deeds. And I'm like, I wasn't ready for that. So I promised I would come to this town hall with something. So we don't have time to go through every possibility, but I don't care if you're on let's see, what do I got? I got YouTube open up, I got Discord, and of course I got you, Aggie. So if you want a particular combination, I'll see if I have it. Like if you want a magical this, that, or
I just want a smattering. There's no way that we can get everybody everything. Let's just give them a smattering.
All right. How about let me see. I think last town hall I shared a mid-level keep. So, well, here, let's save the kingdom land for last. Let's just start off with natural land. How about let's do a mountain. All right.
Perfect.
So this is an example of a natural epic mountain deed frame. So that looks pretty cool. Let's find a magic one. Let's do a let's see. Let's do earth. This is a jungle. So this is a rare magic jungle, and the magic is earth. So it's earth magic is represented with these glowing green gems that come out of the ground. So if you see something like that, and you'll notice the banners in the top left corner, the banner you see on that first image I shared with you, that is the natural banner. So if you go ahead and card flip during the survey stage, and you see that green banner with that design, then you got natural land. And on the second deed, you'll notice there's that other banner, and that's the magical banner. So if you see that banner on your deed, you know that you have land that has magic in it.
And what about something occupied? What are we going to see with the little creepies and crawlies that are on there?
All right, let me find occupied. How about what did I show? Mountain and jungle. Let's do a desert. Here's a desert that's been occupied. It looks like it's epic. So I already showed an epic, but whatever. At least you see the different colored banner. That is the occupied banner. If you see that banner when you flip your land deed, then hey, I got a pest control problem. I got some vermin to get rid of. And I think I explained in previous town halls that the narrative teams come up with a great concept there, where the Rift Watchers came into the world to help, but inadvertently, accidentally fractured the space-time continuum or whatever, and it brought down and opened up some rifts from somewhere that's not so friendly. And those rifts weren't visible except down below in the realm of silence where the Venari live and a whole bunch of other races live, and they got the brunt of that situation. So there's some rifts down there where these nightmarish Didoc beings are swarming out of, and they're climbing around, and the Venari are shutting down tunnels, trying to divert them somewhere else, and we don't want them down here. Set them up. So they all scramble up and come out of bursting out of the ground. And hey, now they just surveyed the land. Guess what? You inherited this problem. It's kind of like White Walkers from the Game of Thrones. You better take care of this problem, or they're going to overwhelm the whole world. So lucky for you, killing them does result in these essences, which we'll get into in future town halls. What to do with those essences and how they, what do you do with them? And that should be fun. And last but not least, let's finally get to Kingdom Land. I shared a keep last time. Let's share a castle. This is a level 1 castle. So even though it's only level 1, I think it still looks cool. And you'll notice we did something cool with the frame. So Kingdom deeds do not have a rarity like the other cards do. You'll notice that those ones had a little gem at the top. They indicated common, rare, epic, legendary, right? Well, I guess Kingdom Land is the closest we'll ever get to mythic status, right? And even though they're not called mythic in rarity, they do have a special gem at the top that indicates that, hey, this is outside the scope of your normal rarity system. Heck, they don't even exist in that rarity system. And you'll see that the banner at the top has the Kingdom banner flying there on the side there. So that's pretty cool. And of course, yeah.
I want to see a legendary land. Can you show me what a legendary land looks like and how I might be able to identify that?
Let's see. Sure. I'm sure I have a legendary here somewhere. Yeah, here's a magic land with infused with dragon magic. So there's these like dragon things floating around. But this is a legendary. So if you get one of these, it's not only magic, but legendary. So there's going to be very potently infused with magic that you can harvest if you build the right building.
Now, one of the things that's missing is like where it is on the map, and maybe the name of it or the name of the peninsula or the territory that I'm in.
No, absolutely.
Is it only the front, or is there? But wait, is there more?
Yeah. So you'll notice that on all these deeds I shared on the right-hand side, there's this gradient. That's where we're going to go ahead and overlay in the UI the text and icons and all the information about the deed. And if you have unsurveyed land that you've already claimed in the game right now, then you will notice that there's text on that side. But I'm not really happy with where it's at right now. It's just not as pleasing to the eye as kind of what we showed at Splinterfest and what we want to do. So we were trying to finish up some icon assets and some other things, and we're in the midst of making that look as beautiful as possible. For this town hall, I thought, well, I don't want to just show the way the text is on the website right now because I'm not too thrilled with it. But coming up soon, we plan to finalize those designs, and then I can start showing some deeds maybe in the future where we have how the text will be displayed and what kind of information will be on a surveyed land, and that'll be cool. And I guess you'll have to see future town halls to get that. And you know what I forgot? Because Cryptomancer was there talking about sets earlier, and he mentioned this. I was like, oh, I'll grab an example to kind of support what Cryptomancer was talking about. So before I forget, let me find it. So here's an example. Again, same thing. Disclaimer, TBD, everything subject to change. We're literally in the design process. These aren't final designs. We're literally like, I'm reviewing it. I'm putting notes and feedback. The UI designers are going, oh, Nate, he's so picky. And then they go in and try to accommodate, my nitpicks. So we're still in that process, but it's coming along. It's looking good. So I'll give you an idea of where we're at with that. So that's for the market and the collection screens, the filters on the side, as Cryptomancer pointed out. Here is some of the filters. And then if you scroll down further down the page, you might see something like this. And keep in mind, once we hand this off to the devs, they might push back and say, what are you guys, crazy? We're not doing that. So just keep that in mind as well. But but this is some of the stuff that we're trying to get integrated, and being able to scroll and have it on the left hand screen will make things a lot more scalable. And as you can see, you can collapse and expand different sections of the filter so you can see what you want to see.
Nice. Well, that's a great update, and I just realized that we have 4 pages of questions, so I should probably end this. Anything
Sounds
else
good.
that you wanna add before we, sign off for this section? Anything else you want people thinking about or knowing about?
No, I mean, there's so much on a daily basis that I'm collaborating on, I'm talking about, and there's projects people know about and projects that people don't know about, and it's all just exciting, and so I'm just thrilled every day. So and so thank you, Agra. Thank you for providing me with this opportunity to just have this dream job of just doing something that I'm passionate and have fun doing. And thank you so much for the community for supporting everything that's going on. It can be tough sometimes because we're literally on the bleeding edge. We're on the forefront of creating a new way that people play games, and that is no easy task. That requires a unified community, a unified team, all of us working together to try to pave our way into the unknown. We're boldly go where no one has gone before, right? We're in Star Trek right now. So whether it's from UI design or implementing how game mechanics work in game design, or the back end technology on the engineering side, or the community drafting up proposals and coming up with new ideas on how to make this whole thing work. I mean, it's difficult trying to figure out stuff that no one in mankind's history has figured out yet, but we're doing it, right? I mean, every step along the way, it's not always the right decision, but we're always making a little bit of progress, sometimes a little bit and sometimes a lot. So big thanks to the community and supporting this whole project.
Rock on. Well said. Okay, let's go do a little bit of a Splinterlands TV, and then I have 4 pages of questions that I'm probably going to get hammered on. So hold on, we're not just here yet, Azaria. We still got to do Splinterlands TV. So I guess I have to do some shout outs. Bitcoin Flood, that's an easy name to pronounce. Canada, I can't believe I have to go praise Canada today. We got Games World, Luthien the Destroyer. I think that's Kissifer, and Boomburst. So these are the guys that are not just guys, but men and women, and the folks that are out there, watching these shows day in and day out. You've earned your shout out, but more importantly, thanks for watching, thanks for participating, and thanks for talking with the people.
Thanks for shouting out Canada and praising Canada. I think
Don't you dare, Ron. Don't you dare.
I think a lot of our audience appreciates that.
Luthien the Peacebringer is saying, "Hey, thanks for doing FOMO February. How's FOMO February going? Have we noticed any meaningful change in the number of people watching shows?"
A little bit. Yeah. No, so I brought up some stats before the show started, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of get an apples to apples comparison. And I actually, we don't have quite a full week of data. But what I did is I compared a January 25th through January 31st, which is 7 days, to February 1st through February 6th, which is 6 days. And we're not even through February 6th yet. Now, the average viewers for the last week of January is 36 viewers. The average viewers for the first week of FOMO February is 86 viewers.
Nice.
The minutes watched for the last 7 days of January is 318,861. The minutes watched for the first 6 days of February is 681,114.
Jeez.
We went from 22,000 chat messages to 103,000 chat messages. We went from 1,000 unique viewers to 1,500 unique viewers. And we went from 45 new follows up to 89 new follows. And, right now, I think we're sitting at, 2,707, 2,700 followers. So we've jumped up quite a bit here recently.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. That sounds like a post, Ron. Can you put those numbers together? I guess after a week has gone by and let folks know how FOMO February is going. I think that's pretty incredible.
Absolutely. And I also, guys, there's been tons of community members, streamers, and everybody out there putting posts about FOMO February. So make sure go look at the Splinterlands TV tag over on Peak D or Hive.blog or Splinter Talk, whatever your preferred interface is, and go upvote those and go support those.
Have we seen viewers like contributing to this at all? Are they either extra tippy with the streamers, or are they giving gifts to also be given out? Like, are you seeing any of that?
Oh, absolutely. So our subscriptions, we actually had 17 subscriptions in the last week of January, which that's actually more than normal. And then for the first 6 weeks of FOMO February, we had
For 6
82
days.
first 6 days, yeah. First 6 days of FOMO February, we had 82 subscriptions.
And all those that's to the Splinterlands bottom line.
That's to the streamers. We passed
We
that
don't
cost
get a
right.
dime for that.
We
That
don't get a
all
dime
goes
for
to the
this.
people streaming. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, we don't get a dime for any of this. This is Splinterlands TV is purely promotional. It's purely retention. There's a lot of ups and downs in Splinterlands, right? Sometimes you're having good days and you're winning games, and sometimes you're down in your luck. You didn't pull a great card out of the pack, or you're not really winning your games. And you can go share these experiences with the streamers on there, and go realize that you're not alone. And that you're going to have your good days, you're going to have your bad days, and that's what the Splinterlands experience is all about.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely agree. Think it's great to see that this promotion's working. We're bringing in the audience. Do you think that it's real people? Do you feel like it's all bots? Like,
We haven't even.
If it is,
Well, we haven't even explained what FOMO February is. Yeah.
Oh, why don't you? Yeah, I guess. Thanks, Ron. What is FOMO February that we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes?
I mean, sometimes you kind of need to do a little promotion to get people's get the butts in the seats, right? And we decided to let you guys in with two legendaries per stream, and we've been giving out 2 legendaries per stream, and these have been mostly the airdrop legendaries. So with the Chaos Legion airdrops, there was quite a bit of those that we had and available for promotional purposes, and we decided to share those all with the audience. And it's been 2 legendaries per stream, and those 2 legendaries per stream have equated to quite a few viewers. Now, you had a question about, do you think it's bots? And I absolutely do not, because if you go watch the chat over on Splinterlands TV, that's not bots speaking. That's real humans speaking. And pretty much everybody watching is active in chat, because you can watch them do the giveaways, and you can see, oh, there's 85 viewers and we have 62 people participating in this, or it's usually really close to the number of viewers is the number of participants, which I'm always watching pretty much. What's that?
That bodes well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we had a lot of questions that are about to hammer me. So let's go ahead and show the clip of the week this time, Ron.
Let's do it. All right. Well, there's a few things that make you sweaty whenever you're as a Splinterlands player. Like whether it's a challenge from Schnapoon, whether it's entering in a gold foil tournament. But there's one thing that can really make you sweaty, and you can't even really help it. And that's what this clip is all about.
We got, oh my gosh, you're so terrible. I can't even believe that. Are you kidding me? What? Are you kidding me? 2 gold foil Yasiks? 2?
Yeah, that's a nice haul.
Stever,
Nice haul.
and during that, he opened up 200 packs. He got 4 gold foil legendaries in that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So he got 2 gold foil legendaries, and then he pulled a double Yasik gold foil legendary, which That's just unheard of.
Yeah. That's crazy good luck. That's absurd good luck.
Yeah. So, guys, if you need some good luck, just send your packs to Stever. He will open them for
Open.
it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it for this. Guys, go check out Splinterlands TV. All you got to do is go show up and watch. Listen to the streamer, and they'll tell you what to do. You might have to put in like FOMO February into chat to enter the giveaway, or you might just have to be active in chat. Just show up and listen to the streamers, and no cost. You don't have to pay nothing. You don't have to be a Mav. You don't have to be. You don't even have to be a player. You just got to be somebody who can, receive things to your Hive address and watch Splinterlands TV.
Rock on. Thanks, Ron. I guess I don't know that we talked about this, but I feel bad pulling everybody in. It's late tonight. So if some of the guys that are on the call want to drop off, hopefully that's okay. And it's my plan to go do 4 pages of questions. Do you have a little bit of time after the hour? Because I probably need to go get some viewer questions too. Is that a thing you could do, Ron?
Yeah, I can do that. Let's pull them on. If anybody needs to drop off, just let me know and I'll make it happen.
Okay. So if the Lady Azaria could go let the folks know, it's time for us to kind of switch gears here, and it's time to plow through some questions, and we'll see what we do. All right. So will I need a max level summoner to stake max level cards on a land plot, or can you explain the role of summoner on land? That's still being debated. This is exactly what I would like to see happen, but I don't always win. So we'll see what happens. Is it possible to talk about the potential cost for development of land in the next town hall meeting? We haven't fully scoped this. We got to think through how many levels of land should there be, and what's a reasonable cost, and how long should it take, and all that. That'll be tricky, but we gotta figure that out. Do we know how renting land will work? Will upgrades to buildings require we cancel the rental, upgrade, then relist? Will longer-term 12-month rentals be an option? If so, could tenants upgrade buildings? Yep. There's still to be determined as far as I know. This is kind of like a little bit of phase 2 or phase 3, but there we go. All right. Beyond curiosity alone, when will there be the first point when surveying land will be beneficial? Which step or part of the year? I mean, I don't know what you mean by beneficial. You'll certainly have entertainment value if what Nate says is correct, and we get to do that before March, or before the end of March. Assuming there is no actual need for surveying until later this year, can we adjust claiming to a system where region tokens can move forward to a new region each day or hour if they remained unclaimed? Do you need a community proposal? We understand for game mechanics it may not matter where you get land, but this is also assets in a market, and markets are about so much more than game mechanics. And even still, when surveying is live, we still won't want these next few regions, so they'll still just sit there. Most of us know where we want already. Yeah, that's probably a question for Matt, so we can bring that up to him. I don't know. I don't see any reason why we can't, other than that's a bunch to code. But we'll see. We can ask Farpatrol and Matt what they think. Scheduled maintenance. I don't want to sound super lame, but why is scheduled maintenance not moved when it overlaps with the last 24 hours of a brawl rotation? For EU members, it starts at 17:30 p.m. when we get home and have the perfect moment to fill our brawls. If anything goes wrong during maintenance, or if it's a big update, it can last up to 10 p.m. for us. So I hear that. The challenge is when we do maintenance, we have to make, Matt said no. So I guess we can't adjust the unfair to people that already claimed is the reason why we can't do that. So it sounds like we're not going to be rotating. As for the scheduled maintenance, the problem that we have there is that we want, when we do an update, it is a very complicated task. This is not like push a button and you go. It's like a ton of heavy coordination between the ops teams and then the teams that are actually building that code base. So it's like a coordinated dance almost. And we don't want to do that when the devs are tired, and we don't want to do that when the devs are like at home or, excuse, I gotta sneeze. This is terrible. I'm on air.
Look at the lights. Look at the lights.
So the look at the lights, whatever helps. So you just have to, we got to do it at the right time. And the right time is when the devs are ready. And I know it might be annoying for our European friends, but you know, it's just way more important that the game is up, then the game is convenient. So it's not something that I can really change at this point. Update filters. This last update changed how the filters worked on selection for the worst, so that if you select flying during the earthquake rule set, it now doesn't show summoners since they don't have flying. This makes it difficult for someone to quickly browse different splinters for what flyers are available in this rule set, because now you have to select flying each time you choose a summoner rather than switching summoners with the filters on. Was this done deliberately? If there's no good reason for the summoners to be filtered this way, it would be very nice to change things back. I'm an experienced player who knows my cards well, and I use this functionality occasionally. I can only imagine how much more difficult this is for less experienced players. Nate, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I was not familiar with the mechanics of how that was working, but I do agree that, you know, we want to keep it intuitive. We want it to make sense. So take a look at it.
Okay. ECR, with the recent changes, hopefully curbing bot farms' ability to drain value out of the ecosystem, would you consider resetting ECR back to the way it worked before, i.e. not falling off a cliff at 50%? I'd really love to play more, but I always have to stop at 50%. Yeah, those are good things to start looking at. I don't know, maybe somebody can DM that one to Matt and see what he says. Farpatrod, I know you're listening, so maybe you can poke that his way. Soulbound, will the future minting of the Soulbound cards be for more DEC than their burn value? Not currently established. I don't know what that's going to be. Would burning SPS instead of DEC to make Soulbound cards tradable help to keep up SPS and the value of all Splinterlands assets? Well, burning itself doesn't actually do the trick. You know, you need somebody to buy something and then burn it. In this case, there might be an incentive to buy and burn so that you can make your cards tradable. But generally, what we want is, first off, we want to make sure that the stable coin stays stable. So, you know, it's pretty critical to have a functioning marketplace and pretty critical for just the entire game. But then secondly, once we have demand on that DEC and it keeps moving, that itself would lead to burning the SPS. So, you know, we can do things where it burns the SPS directly. That's not like factually wrong or technically impossible. Just both Matt and I and a lot of the economy team think that it makes more sense to get the DEC and burn the DEC or use the DEC, because that helps keep things at peg and par. And then you later say, I know you want to burn DEC to bring it to peg to make Soulbound cards tradable, but SPS price might be more important because that's what chess, rank play, and the price of cards is highly based on. If there are low rewards, card prices and rentals go down and the value of Splinterlands ecosystem goes down. Yeah, I mean, it's a really complicated economy. I can understand why somebody would think that. We don't think that, largely because we've seen what low price DEC does to the overall market. And so we'd rather keep the DEC stable, and stable DEC ultimately leads to higher SPS values. Now that we have that flywheel mechanic put in, we just have to get there. And that means that we have to put, you know, we need better market conditions and we need more things that are driving you guys insane that you must have them immediately. Rentals. When will the season rental function be launched? Now that the card rental speed is too slow, I can't bear it. Yeah, card rental speed's been a little funky. Sorry for that. You know, it is part of like changing everything and trying to make it more efficient. Just we're trying to find the right balance there. I know that season rentals is being worked on. I don't know if that's this sprint, but it should be pretty soon if it's not this current one. I don't know. Anybody here have any thoughts on that? Do you guys know when that goes in?
Yeah, there's some holdups on it because we're also looking at reworking the way that the rental data is stored. So we're trying to tie that in with adding the rental system.
Yeah.
So it's a little more complicated than we're just adding the rental system. We're also trying to fix all the problems with rentals at the same time.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that we get an eye on it. Sometimes that means that there's a little bit of scope creep, but we're working on it, fellas. Considering the issues with rentals and delays, would it be possible to implement some kind of priority system for rentals? Could it be implemented into the planned battle pass as a feature that rentals are priority handled and thus favoring players over bots and making the battle pass more attractive? Yeah, I'm hoping that the issues with rentals and delays is not a long-term problem, which is why adding it to battle pass is not going to be done in like the next 3 months. So if we're still dealing with delays and rental problems in 3 or 6 months from now, that would be frustrating, and hopefully we're not there. Anything else you want to add about rental market being laggy or having any trouble? Anything else from the ops team in terms of what you think that'll look like going
Yeah,
forward?
so over the past few days, anyways, there's been at least 3 different sources of rental lag. Someone changed some settings, which spun down how many servers were handling renting, which caused some problems. Someone ran a very large database query, which kind of killed the entire game for a little while, which wasn't just rentals, but over the past weekend. There's things that have been fixed, and there's things that we've told people not to do anymore. So hopefully the rental system will be relatively stable. There may still be some brief periods of instability if we get hit with a lot of requests at the same time. But if you're seeing rental issues, contact support so they can contact us.
All right.
We'll take a look at it.
Gladiator cards. Any plans to add gladiator cards to the mobile app? I can see them in my inventory, but when I choose a soulbound summoner, gladiator cards are not selectable.
Yes, they are going to be added in here. It is already a ticket that is open, and the enhancements team is aware of it.
SBS validator node license. What is the status and plan for SBS validator node license? Anybody want to take that? All right. Yeah, that's all in progress. I mean, I should probably get some of the devs on that are talking about that. I guess, Ron, if you can go try to load in one of our validator devs to go come on one of these town halls, that would be great. And let's give everybody, not my feelings on it, but what they're actually doing, that would be great.
I can say that we're rolling out a bunch of voucher functionality into the validators tomorrow, so they've been working on it. It's not necessarily related to license, but we're trying to get all the functionality finished before we, have everyone spin up their own copies with their licenses.
Yeah, we should get the total list of what else is left to go in before it's like publicly ready. When there's open source, when people can start doing it, there's just a lot. So we need somebody on that can go kind of talk through validators, and let's make that a priority. All right, Deck B. What will be the first expected use case for Deck B, given that the land potions proposal did not pass? Will there be any use for Deck B right away once the Deck B sale starts? So my hope is that land potions, freedom fighter for freedom was really like a negative voice towards we shouldn't be doing land potions. It's just a land tax, and they're dumb. And that is a complaint. But I don't really care for complaints, except that Fighter for Freedom, he just did it totally right, because after his complaint, he also put in some suggestions, and those suggestions I think were really good. And I didn't even know that he was here, but for freedom, stoked that you're here. And so at first I was like, damn it, you bastards, you failed this proposal, and it's going to be a lot of work. But later, I was actually getting pretty excited about it, because the trying to make it like a starter kit for land and thinking through what are some of the benefits that we can do. We don't want it to be boss fights where like we'll promise a feature but we can't get to it for years. So we're more cautious these days about what we're going to add in than earlier. But I personally submitted some suggestions of what that starter pack might look like. I know that we weren't able to get to that last week in the sort of land scoping discussion, but I'm pretty certain that we can get to that this week. And we'll see if we can't figure out what a better starter pack for land might be. And in that case, it might actually be more expensive than the $10 we were thinking about, but hopefully it will actually provide more value. And you guys will be excited about it. And that's one of the things you can use Deck B on. I do think that the guild buildings will get in there too. It won't be there at release, but that's something that we want to do. And I can see, can we get a detailed post about Deck B? I actually just saw one from Matt not that long ago, so that should be going out before too long. And then since Deck B is used anywhere DEC is burned, does this mean that Gladius stones will also be able to be purchased for Deck B? I don't think that's on the slate or the docket right away, but that is something that we're looking at too. All right. Ranked rewards. Luke PDE Gaming just recently brought up an issue with rewards with the new Soulbound reward cards and Gladius cards for ranked rewards. Currently, with the reduction in reward cards due to card level of the Soulbound and Gladius cards makes them undesirable to play in ranked. Is there a plan to have the reward platform ignore certain cards? The conscript ability is nice, but I've been playing actively in higher tier guild brawls for over a year and don't even come close to having enough BCEX of one card that would give me the right rewards in a gold or diamond. So yeah, the Gladius cards are purposefully held back, and you have to go grind these things forever. That was an intentional decision. As for the reward cards, yeah, anytime that new reward cards are released, it's going to take a while before they actually get leveled up to the use case. There was some discussion about limiting the number of reward cards that we'll release initially, and we steered away from that. Not entirely certain why, but that's not what we chose to do. We chose to go launch the entire set of reward cards, and as a consequence of that, you guys will get reward cards sort of smattered over a bunch of different options. It'll take a little bit to grind them through, but that's part of this game, is that you're here not just for like the one day. You don't just like sit down and play and you get everything, but you have to be here and participate for a long time, and that's some of what we want. I mean, in other games, especially stuff where like the cards don't have any value, we can just give you stuff and give you as much of it as you might want, hit you with as much dopamine, hope that you spend a couple gems to go get us some dollars, and then you go off to the next thing. But none of that provides value in this ecosystem. So this really has to be sort of like a long-term grind with all the stuff that we do. And that's some of why, I support Gladius cards taking a while. I know you guys want to use them everywhere all at once, but that's not what we're doing to start. Chests. When the new chests are open and a potion is used, does it use one potion per chest or one potion per card in the chest? I'm betting it's the latter, but I'm not positive. Also, when applying the multiplier for the league, when does this occur in the process? For example, could you pull 12 gold foil commons out of a champion chest? That's a little bit more specific than I know. Does anybody know that on the call right now?
I don't know what the exact numbers are, but there is a chart that's been circulating. I think it might be pinned in the Mavs chat and in the tech updates channel that will show all the different chances of getting cards. And yes, it is possible to get multiple gold foil cards in a single chest. The amount you get will vary randomly, and the maximum is different depending on the league.
All right. Thank you for that. Dow, while the Chaos Legion pack running proposal probably should have been a unilateral decision for the team, it was nonetheless put up for a Dow vote and passed by the community. I absolutely love the concept behind reserving 500,000 packs to help onboard new players, but at the same time, I think it sets a really bad precedent for the team to go back on the results of a Dow vote. Have you considered waiting until Rebellion comes out and reserving 500,000 of those packs to use on Nifty Arcade instead? So yeah, we voted to go burn these packs, and those packs are getting burned, and they're burning at that same rate. And if we decide as a company or a team that we want to go use these for something else, these aren't necessarily DAO packs. These are owned by the company. We created these. We put in this time. We did all this stuff. So those are assets that it costs us money to make and build and use, and it's ultimately not up to the DAO how the Chaos Legion packs go out. It might eventually be, when all the witnesses are up and running, we're going to have to be asking the community, is this what you guys want? And it'll be a little bit more of a dance. But at least, there's this is something that we currently control completely. So I put out a notice, I put out a conversation. It initially went badly, and then ultimately every single piece of frustration really seemed to vanish when you guys understood that, hey, we're not like selling these, and we're not doing this for profit. We're doing this to try to onboard new users. And by the way, if it fails, I'll burn the whole thing. People were much more willing to accept these and don't really see it. So as like a workaround or us trying to screw the DAO. So it's, they are still burning, packs are still going. I guess when I looked at this, I said, if we burn every single pack at the same pace at 25,000 per day, then on the very last day, we're gonna have 500,000 packs that burn, and it just doesn't make any sense. So, and especially when I looked at the amount of success that Nifty is having and the way that they're onboarding users, and I know that everybody's telling me get new users, new player experience, get new users. And I'm like, what can I actually do right now to make this work? And what shows the most promise? The single most promising thing to get new users in this entire company and ecosystem that I've seen is Nifty Arcade. So I want to give it a shot. It seems like most of the players want to give this a shot because I stopped getting some sass about it. I think there's some concern around should the rewards go to the DAO or should we burn them? Generally, when left with that decision, I'm going to lean towards give it to the DAO because the DAO can always vote to burn them later. So we'll kind of see what folks want to do. I don't know if that'll be a full proposal. It might be a proposal later on, but this is something that I definitely want to try to get going. And I think it's going to be super beneficial. And if I'm wrong, we'll burn the damn packs. All right, here we go. And part of that is like, I want to make a definitive statement, right? Like I want to make definitive moves. So, we could have done like 10,000 card packs and it wouldn't have made a dent. It wouldn't have really done anything. Like we want to try, like I've done personal packs. I've seen how this works. I ran a little experiment. I thought it was amazing. And now I want to go do it in like hardcore mode. And I know that that's going to ruffle some feathers, but if I'm wrong, we just bury the whole thing, rewards and all, and it won't matter. But if I'm right, we get thousands of new players across 2022 or 2023, sorry. And you guys can thank me later. All right, Nifty Arcade. The deal with Nifty Arcade doesn't include Rift Watcher packs, correct? No, it does not. We don't own those. I can't offer anything about them. Can you explain if the team could ever unilaterally make a decision to open and delegate any of the DAO's RFW packs? We could, but we would have to buy them first. And maybe that's an option if we get up to much higher. If we get up to a much higher SPS price, I might actually use some of that to buy cards. I don't know, but the DAO, the Rift Watchers packs are not Splinterlands property. I don't look at those as my property. I don't think of those as my property. If we buy some, they are, but that supply is owned by the community. So I'm not going to like go out and issue them or buy them or whatever. Or I guess buying isn't a problem, but I'm not just going to like randomly issue them to the Splinterlands company the same way that you guys can't just like put my house up for sale because you don't own it. In the Peak D post, you say the data we've been looking at shows that players who come in through Nifty Arcade Gateway platform stay around much longer and purchase far more packs and cards on the market on average than players who come in through any other means. Can you share the data that you used to come to this decision? I feel transparency is important since in the past, the company has promoted very inaccurate data. We need to see data regarding retention and spend, as well as data regarding bot detection. If Nifty has good bot detection, then why not implement its bot detection into Splinterlands? I'm not saying that to take away rewards from bots, simply flag them in the game and publish publicly how many accounts are bot or not. Thank you for reading my exceedingly long question. So Nifty is a private business and the Splinterlands game platform is public. So what we do with the public platform and what a private entity does are going to be different. Some of that same stuff will be around the Splinterlands team. I initially said we should publish the data that we have. I got some pushback from the company that maybe it's not all the way organized that we would like. So I hear this. I tried to anticipate this. I got a little bit overruled by some of the other team members, and I went with this. So I would love to get more data, but frankly, like whatever data I put out, you should have that. You have in this question some amount of like pre-Chaos Legion bot numbers, for example, and very inaccurate data. Great. So screw my data for now, and let's go run this experiment for 2 months. I'm completely convinced that this is by far the best method. And maybe I can get some data released. Maybe you can look at the post by 16-bit. But in the meantime, don't trust any of my data. Look at it yourself. Give this thing like 2 months to run, and then look at it and say, Aggie, this was amazing, and we got lots of people, or Aggie, this was the dumbest thing you've ever done. We have to burn all this crap. But let's give it 2 months to run. It's not going to like ruin the economy. We're not going to sell these cards. There's a very limited amount of SPS that's going to be earned by bronze players earning 50% of the rewards. It's going to be pretty small. So, for a very inexpensive cost, we can run an amazing experiment. And if I'm wrong, we'll burn the whole thing to the ground. And if I'm right, you can thank me later, regardless of whatever the data showed now. So I'll work on trying to get that data better presented. I'm not sure how to do that. I'm not sure that You know, Matt's skeptical of the data. You're skeptical of the data. Who knows? But I can just tell you that it took very little time to get these decks rented. New players are renting. I got comments from the people that are renting the decks saying, thanks for renting these to me. And when I saw how much players were spending, I'm like, holy crap. This is some of the most aggressive spending that I've seen by anybody in a while. So like that. All right. Confidence. How does Splinterlands plan to reestablish the confidence of players into the company? Promises given in the past were broken on multiple occasions in the last weeks and months. Why should players believe in future promises? You know, we're frankly just trying to do our best, right? Like, I know everybody is grumpy as hell because we just lived through a bear market, but we lived through a bear market in crypto, and we have like 60 to 100 people that we have to think about. We're trying to build the best experience we can. We're trying to build the best tools that we can. And part of going fast. So the most amazing part of what we're doing is that you know, how much code we are shipping, how much stuff we are doing. I think it's freaking amazing how much as a company we're able to be doing right now. I feel like even with half the number of people that we had in December, we're going twice as fast. And when you do that, when you run and operate at that pace, we can't get everything. You can't hit every single part of something that we want to do. And so there's this battleground happening between these are the things that we're going to do, and these are some of the things that we learn along the way. And there's going to be a mix of this. We're going to keep changing things to try to get to the single best damn game we can make in this ecosystem. You know, if we make a mistake and you know, let's say it's not even an exploit, but it's just a stupid thing that we do, you know, we don't want that to live forever. Collection power is something that's kind of like a little bit wonky. And we had it before something like SPS even existed. And, you know, the things that we had a year ago or 2 years ago, they don't always make sense. And frankly, even when we implement something that's like, we just implement it, and then the players in the community are like, look at all this stuff that we could do in addition. Why didn't you think of it? It's like the damn thing has been running for a month, you know, like it's hard to predict all these things. So part of my plan is in the process, try to get players more involved so that you guys can have more of a voice. We'll see how far I get doing that. That's a lot of institutional change, but I want to get more players so that we can get more feedback, and not in every little thing that we do, but in certain areas, I want player feedback shortly before we actually go and start shipping products. So it's like limited, not everywhere, not everything. And hopefully that cuts down on the number of things that we feel like, you know, if we did this, it would be better. You know, I don't think that you guys would want it if we just like build something and never change it. That would be bad. What I think is sort of the rough spot is like we build it and then we shortly thereafter learn, oh, there might be a better way, and we try to change it, and then everybody gets ticked. So there's some balance, and you know, I don't feel like I nailed it yet. The like proposal system is only something like 15 or 17 votes old. It's still really new. And so this is really a first time that we've gotten like real market data and real stake weighted data. So I'm trying to respond to that. I know that some players are still frustrated. I'm not sitting around here with like, you know, some pet cat trying to think through all the ways that I could screw the players. I'm sitting here trying to think through what are all the best things that we can do to make this the best damn game. And, you know, what's nice about the DAO is that when you guys disagree with me or with this company, you guys have a voice and can go like, stop the things that we're doing and say, no, we don't want it. And that's okay. You know, it's not the end of the world if we lose a proposal vote or we don't get something that we're hoping for. So hopefully you hear that explanation. You hear that I don't have some sinister plan. I'm trying to do the best that I can. There's a lot of voices. We're moving super fast. And when we move super fast, it can be a challenge to get every little piece of this done the perfect way. And I'm going to try to implement some process changes to get more input to try to reduce the amount of crap. But I'll tell you, even after we do that, you just can't see it all until it's in production, until you see the data, until you see the changes that have happened, the changes in behavior, the ways that people interact. You know, I could try to predict things all day long, but I won't actually know it until I see it in the data. And then I want to make data-driven decisions. And, you know, it can be hard because I have asymmetric info to most people out there. And I don't always explain things perfectly. I don't always break it down to the smallest pieces. You know, it's this like battle between, do I make a 30-page post so that everybody understands everything, or do I make like a 5 bullet point post so that like you guys get the main takeaways without spending a lot of time? And it's just every little part of this is a constant battle. And every little time that we do something, there's, you know, some portion of the population that says, yes, this is amazing, we need to do it. And there's some other portion that's like, I can't believe you ever did this, you should die in a fire. And that's going to happen in every single proposal that we do. That's the nature of DeFi and, you know, having all these different voices that are part of this. So, you know, put your confidence wherever you want. You know, if after 4.5 years you say, wow, these guys are a bunch of morons and they keep getting it wrong and screwed up, then the value is you guys get to back out of this and say, all right, I've had enough. But I think you're on the journey where this is one of the, you know, we're the most used app of 2022. We're at something like 2 billion transactions on chain. We're doing things that no other company has done before. And like Nate pointed out, we're at like the freaking vanguard of this entire industry. If you think that there's teams that are nailing it more than we are, then by God, go put your money in them. But frankly, I think that we have one of the best freaking teams out there, one of the best plans out there, one of the best like execution levels that are out there. And, you know, just think about all your investments elsewhere that have gotten wrecked and look at, you know, even if they're down because of the bear market that impacted all of us, that value is not zero. We're still here. This is like our second or third like shitty bear market we survived. And look around and figure out how many other companies have done that, and think if your assets are secure here or not. And if that's not enough to give you confidence, I don't know what is. Maybe you should listen to some of the other members of this team who are just absolutely stunning and brilliant and awesome. So there you go. Okay. That's what I know. And that's, we're only 11 minutes over, and I guess we're going to go answer some questions. Are you guys up for questions? Do you want to bail? What are you feeling like?
I can stick around a bit.
Whatever you like.
All right, here we go. It's going to never end. All right, Frito-Lay is asking, has your runway increased with a price increase in BTC, DEC, SPS, etc.? If so, by how much? Any news on raising capital? Thank you for the fast, great new gameplay content. So yes, it definitely increased it. You know, there's more money today than there was in December, and it's an appreciable amount. Whether or not, and it also, I don't know. Crypto is so complicated. Nailing down the exact runway is pretty hard. But if the market is done, if the worst month out there was December and this is all past us, then I don't really need to consider runway conversations, at least until the next bear market starts. We're in an okay spot. Mark Orr, with every week game updates, this game is getting heavy to run on browser. It's lagging sometimes, and with land, it'll get a lot heavier to run on browser. Don't you think we will need graphics cards, CPU in the future to run the game? And what will be the minimum limit on SPS staking on players each league from bronze to champion? You know, some of this stuff is that when you first make it's not like completely optimized, and we're currently going through a lot of optimizations now. And so like what you're experiencing to me is sort of like road construction during the building of the road, and you're experiencing traffic. It doesn't mean that the road sucks. It just means that right now it's under construction. So I think that's some of what you're seeing with the browser pieces and the lagging pieces, because we're making edits and changing things. It's been smooth for a while, but we're really trying to optimize what we do. So if a couple months from now, this is still your experience, or really even a couple weeks from now, that's still your experience. If by the end of March, everything is slow and lagging, okay, there might be some problems. But in the meantime, I just think we're doing a lot of construction. And then as for SPS staking on each player, you know, we've got to get the validators up, and we got to get delegation running. There's still a lot before you get into like the exact numbers. And as much as people hate us for it or might get frustrated for it, Matt and I've learned from Matt. He was right. I was wrong. You don't say the numbers early. You look at the data like a week before the damn thing goes live, and you finalize the numbers as late as possible in the process to give you as much information and time with the minimum level of expectations as possible. Question: how dare you? Keep up the good work. Thanks, Greta. I appreciate that. Mark is asking again: packs that are count towards airdrop cards, can it be changed from pack purchased from the official shop to packs open inside the game? This will keep the packs price and demand high in-game shop and external market. Anything is possible. I guess maybe that's something that you guys should consider for a proposal vote. I don't really see that happening because we really want to separate some things that you can only get by helping the company make money. You know, we do a lot to make sure that the community makes money, but the company has to make money too, and that's part of the reason why it's only the airdrop cards are that you bought the packs from originally. Do we have some idea when Rooney building for goods could come and how will it work, or is it just an idea for now? Rooney building for guilds. Sorry. I don't know. Maybe that's in the, I know that we've talked about how Roonies can play with keeps and castles and how they can work with guild buildings. But there's nothing public that we're ready to share. But, you know, those ideas and those plans are getting crafted in the conversations that we're having every single week. Cruton is asking, would it be possible to add OHLC data for each card in card type, regular foil and gold foil, separated out on at least a daily time frame in the API? What's OHLC? Anybody know?
Yeah, that's ALK.
Thank you.
Or OLK.
That's not a word that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
Do you know what OHLC or Mancer, do you know what that refers to?
Open, high, low, close.
Oh, right. On a daily time
basically,
frame.
like historical data for the card market, perhaps.
Yeah, some of that, the markets keep that. That's not something that's like super high on the Splinterlands priority, but I doesn't Peak Monsters have some of that? I think it's out there. Cruton, I don't think that the game services it directly, but I do think that that's kept by some of the external markets. All right, Marketable is saying the current battle rewards equation requires level cards near the league you are playing. The new conscript ability allows gladiator cards, many of which are not leveled that high. Can gladiator cards be ignored in the battle rewards equation? In the battle rewards equation. Oh, maybe we already answered that. Okay. Jeff Open Cards is asking to further clear the air and clarify things. Will the Splinterland owned Nifty decks have 100-0 split where Splinterlands keeps all SBS rewards? If so, to confirm, those using the decks wouldn't earn only soulbound reward cards, potion, and merits. I'm in support of your idea. Just a few things need confirming, clarifying, I think, to help further reduce misplaced uproar from some. My plan was to do 50-50, and the 50 that Splinterlands got, we would burn or give to the DAO, or make as like, you know, tournament rewards or something. Nothing that the company would keep, and then the other 50% would be owned by the player. So, you know, I think it should. I think they should get some. They should get some SBS by doing this. It's, you know, a month of bronze is not going to get you a terribly large amount. And if you're only getting 50%, you might get something like 10 to 15 SPS, you know, like 45 cents worth. So I don't think that that's going to ruin the economy. And even if we do that 1,000 times, what is that, $45? You know, the overall ecosystem is worth something like $200 million. So, you know, the 1,000 bronze decks are not going to make a dent. But what it would make a dent for is the player that owned nothing now owns 45 cents for having played a game and having put very little in. And I think that makes a big difference. Question: were we told we'd be able to make our Rooney our avatar? Is that coming anytime soon, or is it down the road? Nate, where's that live? Is that Q3?
For the avatar?
Rooney as our avatar.
Isn't
Well,
that
you
already
can,
in the game?
yeah, you can do that already, right?
Oh, well, it's coming now. It's already exists. So maybe we need to go help that person figure out how to do it. But apparently you can already. The Matt Strat. I was wondering if there were any way to possibly implement a way to save the focus points. For example, You need 5K focus points to earn a chest. You get to 4.9, but have to do another battle and possibly earn another 4K. So it's up to 3.9 of those points wasted. It feels bad to have to waste so much sometimes. Perhaps have it where half of the extra points will be used in the future towards small leftover and towards chests. That's not quite an Aggie question. That's getting more into the weeds of exactly how the reward mechanics work. Let's save that for a Matt. We can do whatever, but generally we think, no, this is how it works. This is how we should do it. But every now and then we'll come back and say, let's go fix this or tweak this. So I know like rewards is something that they look at a bunch when they get to them. This would be a good kind of question to have there. Let's see. The last question here is the card set update going to fix a gold foil precedence bug when selecting teams. Having a higher level but league limited regular foil card still displays a regular foil as a default option for team selection instead of the equivalent.
The card sets update has nothing to do with gold foil cards. So if that's an existing bug, then it's still there.
Yeah, it is. It got prioritized in a recent bug review, so it's something we're going to look at sometime reasonably soon.
All right. Hey, Tyler, are you still there in chat? One of the things that would be good, I'll ping him later. I guess he's going to be, he's on next week. So I'm hoping to get to talk to the Nifty guys, and they can pull up whatever data they have and whatever data we have, and try to talk through why we think this is one of the best ideas that's possible out there. All right, we hit the end of questions. I can't believe that we did it, but it's a small crowd and it's late tonight. So, hey, guys that are on here with me right now, you're all a bunch of rock stars. Thanks for being here. Thanks for answering questions. Azaria, thanks for helping in the town hall chat there. Ron, thanks for being on the show and hosting this and killing it with FOMO February. So stoked to see all the new people that are there. And I don't know, just happy and excited for what we're doing. Think that there's lots of opportunities that are still here, and I can't wait to see what you guys do and what we all do as a community. Let's bring on board some new people. Let's get some cool code shipped. And like I said, we're going as fast as we can. Sometimes we're going to break some things, but man, if that's not worth it, I don't know what is. And so, hey, a little promotion for Gank here. There's going to be this YouTube thing, so they're going to have some feedback there. I hope to attend that for a little bit, but for now, have a great night. Check out Gank's thing. What's that? Do you have banjos? Do we have banjo music? Oh, man, yeah. I guess let me go on Gank's thing for a little bit. Let me hang out for, I don't know, a little bit of time on air. So maybe at like 11 p.m. I've had some caffeine, so I'm going to stay up late. I guess at 11 p.m. I'll go hang out in the in one of the general chats or something and go play, act like a DJ. And if you guys want to join me there, it should be fun. So maybe something like, what is that, 37 minutes from now? That would be my plan. All right. Lots of banjo music, some dark country, good times. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Ron. And, please push and shove. There's not enough for everyone.
When chaos reigns and hope is lost, when your darkest days aren't saved by the dawn, we bring the light to help guide the way. We are with you. We are the Rift Watchers. When your enemies have spread far and wide, when you're out of places to run and follow the runes. Help is on the way. We stand with you.